Anybody want to explain to me why I have can't touch this stuck in my head? No? Okay, that's fine. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Em, and today we are starting my Ketchup and Pickles vlog. Ketchup and Pickles is basically my monthly reset video. I just try to read as much as I can as we transition from one month into the next. The Ketchup and Pickles comes from an elementary school teaching tactic where you have a list of tasks that you have to catch up on, and then you have a list of fun activities to pick from. And I use that to try to gamify my reading a little bit and give myself a reward system. I've either had too much caffeine or not enough caffeine. And so yeah, last month it was great because I basically just got to pick. It was all Pickles books, which was wonderful. It was exactly what I wanted. This month, it's all Ketchup books because guess who hasn't read any of her TBR jar books for July? Oh yeah, it's me. Definitely me. I have started all 3 of them, but I'll be honest, right now, I'm not excited about any of them. I'm just kind of going through the motions, sadly. So I'm reading The 3-Body Problem by Cixin Liu, and I'm about 100 pages in, and it's fine. It's fine. Everybody talks about how confusing this book is. So far, I'm not confused, but the writing is very dry, and the characters are very wooden. But I'm starting to get contrary because part of me wants to DNF, but also I want to finish the book, but I don't want to finish the book. I want to finish the book because everybody talks about how hard it is or how confusing it is, and I want to finish it so I can at least say, oh, I read it, even if I don't understand it or if I don't enjoy it. But then there's also the part of me that's like, who are you trying to prove something to? Nobody cares if you read this book or if you DNF it. Like, literally nobody. So I'm kind of wish-washing back and forth on what I'm gonna do. It's currently like my first thing in the morning book. I read a chapter, maybe 2 first thing in the morning, and then I set it aside and I can move on with my day. So it's definitely slow and steady at the moment. It's not eating into my reading time too much, so for now it's staying, but we'll see. I've also started The Pomegranate Gate by Ariel Kaplan. And this one is fine as well. How far am I? I think I'm like 20 pages in, so not far at all. Not far enough to give you a synopsis or even to have thoughts. I just have found that this is not what I'm reaching for. I started it about 5 days ago, and I pick up everything else instead of this book right now. This is fantasy that is inspired by Jewish mythology, and I think it's a little bit of a historical fantasy. Not that it's set in a historical time, but it just has that feel. It's compared to Naomi Novik and Catherine Arden, which are 2 authors that I definitely do not have a good track record with. I've DNF'd both of their historical fantasy books. So this may be a case of me not knowing myself well enough as a reader when I brought this book home, and it's been, you know, a good year and a half since I brought this book home, so I have a better sense, I think, of what I'm really drawn to now. But I do want to read it. I got the audiobook. Audiobook is good. So I'm not giving up on it. I'm just not far enough into it to be excited by it, which is challenging, but I did resubscribe to Kobo Plus, which is like their version of Kindle Unlimited, and this book is in Kobo Plus, and so I'm hoping maybe having the ebook makes me more willing to pick it up versus the super chunky paperback. And then the book that my bookmark just fell out of, it's fine, is Her Consideration by Amy Spalding. This is a contemporary romance. It's sapphic. It's set in LA. I think I read the first chapter where our main character like gets broken up with by her girlfriend because her girlfriend thinks that she is selfish and has poor time management skills and doesn't care about anybody other than herself. And the main character is really devastated. And so I think we're now about to jump ahead a little bit and she'll meet the new love interest and then we'll go from there. And I think this might be the one I try to prioritize because it's definitely the shortest / least amount of brain work. And I feel like, especially, I have the audio from Hoopla, I feel like especially on audio, I could fly through this one, but we'll see. I also have a couple of other things on deck. Well, I have 2 Pickles books. So these are my Ketchup books. And then I have 2 Pickles books that I really want to read. So my hope is if I finish this, then I can start my reread of A Murder on Cold Street, which is the next book in the Lady Sherlock series that I need to read for my reread of the whole series. And I really hope y'all aren't sick of me talking about these books yet, because I got like 4 more to go. So just buckle up. But this is book number 5 in the Lady Sherlock series, which is a gender-swapped Sherlock Holmes cozy historical mystery series that I absolutely love. And in book 5, Inspector Treadles is accused of murdering somebody, and Charlotte and the gang undertake proving that he did not do it. And I very much dislike Inspector Treadles, and I think this is the book where they try to redeem him. I also remember not liking this one as much, but like book 1 through 4 are absolute bangers for me. So I think it tracks for how I am with series, that by book 5 is where there's a book that's a little bit of a flop for me.
I found this on the web.
Not helpful. So we'll see. I also, originally I didn't love book 4. Book 4 was one of my least favorites. And then every time I reread book 4, I love it even more than the last time. And I have never reread Murder on Cold Street. So that's also the exciting part, is now we're getting into territory where I have not reread these latest Lady Sherlock books since they were published. And I'm kind of excited to see how my opinion shifts, especially since now I'm reading them so close together and there's not going to be, a year gap in between my reading experience. So, but I have to finish this to read this. And then if by some miracle I finish one of these in this video, I also have The Brothers Hawthorne by Jennifer Lynn Barnes checked out from the library on audio, and that will be my next one if I can finish one of these. So yeah, wish me luck! Hi friends, I'm on my way to work and I'm in line to get coffee. And I've just been listening to the audiobook for her consideration. Anyways, I'm like 9% in and I don't like it. First off, it's single first person POV, which I don't really care for in romance. I either like third person or I like a dual POV if it's going to be first person. And I do not like the main character. I find her very annoying and I just don't like her. And I'm not sure if I would keep going into it. I have this problem with Chef's Kiss by TJ Alexander as well, where that is also first person single POV. And I find the main character in that book insufferable, but I loved the love interest. And I think if that had been dual POV, and I had gotten the love interest point of view, I would have been able to stick the book out and finish it. And with this one too, I think Ari is much more likable so far than Simone is. And so, I don't know. Okay, coffee has been acquired and I have a few minutes before I need to go into work. So I'll try to wrap up these thoughts really fast. The first thing that I didn't really like is the prologue, where Simone's, is that her name? I hope I have the right name. Also, if I do have the right name, Simone is also the name of the heroine in the TJ Alexander book that I found insufferable. So maybe I just need to stop reading books with main characters named Simone. I don't know. It's a thought for another time. So Simone's girlfriend breaks up with her for the reasons I told you, but she gave Simone this really weird ultimatum of if you're not on time for us to have this meeting, then I'll know you just don't care about me anymore. And Simone's late, but not because she doesn't care, but because she got stuck in traffic in LA. And isn't LA notorious for having awful traffic? I don't know. That just seems really unreasonable. If you get stuck in a traffic jam in LA, what are you going to do about it? Is it really? I've just always been from the stories I've heard from people who live in LA, I've been led to believe that you cannot predict when the traffic will be horrendous or when it will be good. And it doesn't really matter how early you leave if the traffic is horrendous. So that just felt I don't know, that felt so weird. And such a flimsy, like, you're just not setting up your partner for success. Like, if you don't love them anymore, like, just break up with them. Don't make them like jump through this hoop to do this weird ultimatum thing. And then fast forward 3 years, and Simone is having a meeting with her boss and this actor who is a client of her boss's. And after the meeting, she and the actor, Arya, who's going to be the love interest, go up to the office and meet this intern that Simone has had a very like contentious email relationship with. And Simone had just assumed that this intern was like a 20-ish-year-old white man. And it turns out that she's like a young queer woman. And just the interaction was weird. The way Simone thought about Max was really, in her head, was really condescending. And like, Arya asks Max about her girlfriend, and Max says that they broke up and is like really upset about the breakup. And then Simone and Arya leave the office, and then they're laughing about her, like about how high-pitched her voice is and how tiny she is, and basically like body shaming her. And it just felt so mean-spirited. And like, you are grown women, what are you doing? You're supposedly grown women, I don't know. So yeah, that's gonna be a DNF for me. It's just not a good fit. Not a good fit, not the right book. So thank goodness. Okay, I have to go into work now. Bye. Okay, hi, hello. I don't know why I thought the main character in For Her Consideration was named, what did I think her name was? Simone? It's Nina. I mean, I'll put stuff on the screen, but it's definitely Nina. So oops. Also, for anybody who's like, bitch, you just DNF'd that book so you could start the next Lady Sherlock. No, I did not. And to prove that my intentions are honorable, I am not going to start my reread of Lady Sherlock until I'm halfway through, at least, either the Three-Body Problem or the Pomegranate Gate. So, yes, but I do really want to start that. But I know once I start that, all the other reading plans are over. So we're going to continue. I filmed an unhaul video today, which should be up the week after this video goes up, and I got all those books out of my house today as well. I filmed it, I bagged them up, and I took them out, and I feel very proud of myself. But I did forget to take a thumbnail, so that's kind of a bummer, but that's okay. That's easy to fix. Like, I was very productive. And then I had a it's like my summer work party, and my youngest got stung by a bee. So, but they're fine. They're fine. It's just the first time they've gotten stung by a bee, so it was traumatic. But now I'm uploading my unhaul video, and we're about to start getting the kids in bed, and I'm gonna keep reading Pomegranate Gate, which the fantasy element got introduced, so I'm a lot more invested now. So that is your final update for today, because I feel like I've given you a bunch of updates, and you probably didn't need as many as you got, but I'm a giver. What can I say? Okay, bye. Good morning, friends. It's early, so I'm going to use the microphone and speak a little quieter so that I don't wake up my family. But I need to give you an update because I made some decisions yesterday about my reading for this week. All right, let's talk about the Pomegranate Gate. So I haven't really told you much about this, but we're following two different main characters. We're following Naphtali, who is a Jewish man, and this is like, I think 14th or 15th Spanish inspired or set fantasy. So like, think Inquisition. So Jewish people in this historical fantasy world are being systematically wiped out, and Naphtali is attempting to flee in order to survive and ends up getting kind of stranded in this village and with two older women. And then our other main character is Toba, and Toba is a young woman, and she walk but she can't run, she can speak but she can't shout. She has all these rules in how she can move her body, and Toba's family is attempting to flee as well, and then she ends up going through like this gate into this magical world, and then now is trapped in that magical world and learning how to navigate it and learning about who she is. So we're bouncing back and forth, and this should be really engaging. This should be really interesting. I am just finding it incredibly boring, sad to say. It is moving so slow, and I just don't like it. And I want to like it, but it is so slow paced, and I don't think I'm a character reader. I don't think I'm a plot reader. I think I need both to some extent. Like, I've been thinking about this for a while because on YouTube you hear people be like, well, I'm a character driven reader, or I'm a plot driven reader. And of course it all comes down to like personal taste, but I really think that as a reader I need both. I need to have characters that I'm interested in, and I need to have a plot that I'm interested in. I can't just have one or the other. And so having this really slow pace, like, that's just it's just not working for me. So I'm gonna DNF it, which I'm really bummed about, but I was really waffling about it last night if I kept trying to push through, because the writing's not bad. It's not a writing issue. I think the writing's really good. And then so it's really just that the pacing is, I think, too slow for me. And so last night I was really waffling about it. My husband's really great about encouraging me to DNF when I'm not having a good time with a book. And so I went on Storygraph and I read some reviews, which is always what I do when I'm trying to decide if I DNF a book or not. And there were a wide range of ratings, but all the low ratings had the same kind of complaints that I did. The slow pace, it stays slow for a really long time. It really doesn't pick up until the last 30% of the book. There's a really big cliffhanger, and I just, no, that's okay. So I'm gonna unhaul it, I'm gonna DNF it, see if Libro will let me exchange the audiobook and get my credit back. Sometimes they do. I just have to email them and ask. So yeah, DNF. And then the book that kind of pushed me to DNF is I started Mr. Magic by Kirsten White, which is horror, and I'm already like 50 pages in, and it's about this woman named Val who works on this ranch in like the middle of nowhere, Idaho, and her father passes away, and at his funeral these three men show up, and they know her, and they from working on a children's TV show that Val has no memory of being on in her life. And they also tell her some other things that her father had told her the opposite of, and so she is now going with them to try to kind of figure out like why there's this TV show that she doesn't remember being on that she was on. So I don't know, I'm interested. We'll see where it goes. Hopefully it's not too scary, but yeah, so I'm gonna read this, and I'm gonna keep working on the 3-body problem. I'm like 150 pages in, and I also think that was the kind of didn't set me up for success with the pomegranate gate. I think if I was not reading the 3-body problem, I could push through, but like having two books that are a little bit more slow paced and don't have very engaging characters is just more than my little reader brain can handle. So that's where we are. And this is technically a catch-up book too, because this was on my TBR for middle grade March, and I know for Summerween, so very different vibes. This was on my TBR for Summerween, and I just didn't get to it. So yeah. Hello all. I feel like I am failing this reading vlog. It's Tuesday. I feel like I haven't read at all this week. Great. We're having another heat wave. Okay. It is so humid today. It's not even 80 degrees, but it's like 62% humidity, and I feel it. I'm feeling every 62%. I worked out in the afternoon today. It was horrible. I hated every minute of it. This is why I don't work out in the afternoon, but it just didn't work out for me to work out earlier, and I feel like I'm not reading anything. Honestly, I just want to watch the Olympics and YouTube, and that's kind of it. I'm not feeling the reading this week. I am still plugging away on the 3-body problem. I'm just over halfway through. I'm reading about 2 chapters a day, first thing in the morning, so I don't even have to think about it. It's kind of like working out. I get it done earlier in the day, so I don't have to think about it the rest of the day, and it's fine. I would still say the characters are pretty flat. You know, I think it's a book that's more about the ideas than about plot or characters. So I'm interested to see, like, as we find out more about the video game, like where that's gonna go and gonna connect to everything else that's going on unless it's already connected it and I just missed it because like things are definitely flying over my head, but that's okay. Like I'm just kind of along for the ride at this point. I got in the boat, we're going down the river. I have no paddle. I'm just going with it. And then I have made progress. Wow. I have made progress in Mr. Magic. I know I said I'm not reading a lot and it doesn't feel like I'm reading a lot, but I did read like 140 pages yesterday, which was a mix of like listening to some of the audiobook while I was doing chores and then reading during commercial breaks while I was watching the Olympics. We watched so much of the Olympics yesterday that I'm kind of sick of it today. But that's okay because men's gymnastics finals was yesterday. It was really all I cared about, but we also watched a bunch of other shit. And then women's gymnastics finals is tomorrow, but I'll watch the replay of that tomorrow night because of course all the gymnastics stuff is while I'm at work. Like that's all I care about. But it's fine. It's fine. So I did make progress on this while I was watching the Olympics, and I am really liking it. I definitely think this has a target audience. It's not a universal recommendation kind of book. I think this has a really specific type of reader. I think I probably slot into the specific type of reader because there is a lot about parenthood. There is a lot about how women are overlooked when they're occupying a more traditional space, even if they do not feel like that kind of person. So like women who get married and have children, and like how motherhood can kind of make you invisible, even if that's not what you want your role to be. Like that's not necessarily why a lot of women choose to be mothers. Like you don't want to be invisible, you don't want to be overlooked, but because of how the patriarchy and the society and society at large, like how in general like women who are mothers are treated, it gets slotted into being invisible. And like this character in here has one line about how she has like a mini monologue, but about how when her husband does the dishes, she tells him thank you for doing something to help out in the house, but like when she does the dishes, no one says thank you to her because it's just assumed that that's what she'll do because it's her role, basically. And like that hit pretty hard. I was like, I see you. She's had a couple of lines where I'm like, like even though my husband is great and like super supportive, and I don't live in a house that has like, well, the wife does this and the husband does this and those are assigned roles. Like we both pitch in, but because I am the parent who is home more, and because we both, as much as we try not to, still have a lot of like internalized misogyny that we are both working through, but sometimes that like comes out and we automatically slip into very gendered roles in our house and in like the tasks that we take on and in like the way that we take on duties. Like those things still come out in really sneaky ways, and so like it's a constant process of trying to unlearn all of that internalized misogyny and to like take a moment to be like, just because I have a vagina does not mean I have to do this task. I can have him do it because he is also a capable human and this is not a vagina specific task. So anyways, I'm liking it. I don't think it's for everybody, but it's definitely for me, and I am really liking it, and I'm very intrigued with the mystery and who this like Mr. Magic character is and what various stuff was going on this children's TV show that the main character was in that she doesn't remember, and like what happened to her sister, and like there's a lot of mystery components. I would almost say like I pulled it off the horror shelf in an indie bookstore. I don't know if I would classify this as horror. It feels more mystery, maybe a little bit more, maybe some thriller components, but it definitely right now feels more like a mystery than a horror novel. So there's that. And then switching back and forth between reading it with my eyeballs and reading it on audio. Audiobook is fine. I wouldn't say only read it on audio. I think it's, you know, either or is good. Now I've talked for 7 minutes and that feels really long, so I gotta go make dinner. No, make is a stretch. I'm heating up cold fried chicken that I bought at the grocery store this morning and opening a bag of Caesar salad. So yeah, that's what we're gonna have, and it'll be great. It'll be wonderful. No notes. I might give that to the kids and have one every plate meal left, and it's hot honey chicken. No, it's fried chicken with hot honey carrots, roasted carrots. I might make that for myself so that I use that food And because we have another box coming tomorrow, and I don't want that still left in the kitchen. And now I'm just rambling, so I am gonna go, and I will talk to you more tomorrow. Hopefully I will have finished this book by then, because maybe I'll find some motivation and actually, you know, read something. Who knows? Okay, sorry, still here. I just got my hold for What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez just came up from the library. Do I borrow it, or do I suspend it again? I've already suspended it once. Am I in a reading slump? Is that the problem? My gosh, I might be in a reading slump. Okay. Hello. I need to clean up my mess because I was working on my bullet journal and then realized I needed, or not my bullet journal, but my reading journal. Going with like a strawberry theme for August, which I know is not, August is not strawberry season, but it just felt right, you know? I have really cute washi tape that should be arriving end of this week, beginning of next week. Anyways, I was doing that and then I realized I needed to make dinner, so I promptly abandoned it all. And now dinner's been had and I need to clean up. And I need to talk to y'all because I finished Mr. Magic by Kirsten White. I'm giving it 4 stars, maybe a 4.25. I really liked it. I have found I really am drawn, sorry, I was hearing something. I think it's, yeah, my oldest is doing Duolingo in her room. I think that's what I'm hearing. Anyways, I'm really drawn to horror that deals with religious trauma. I don't know why. I mean, I don't have like my own religious trauma because I did not grow up religious, but I grew up in a very religious community, so I am familiar. I really like when we tackle those themes in books, and I really appreciated Kirsten White's acknowledgments because her first line says, "I'll save you the work of trying to decipher the Google results. Yes, I was Mormon. No, I am not anymore." I thought that was really interesting, and I really liked the commentary on children in toxic religious situations and like how humans in positions of power in organized religion will try to twist children around into being these perfect creations that aren't even children anymore by the end of the day, once you've like twisted and manipulated them into being like this perfect little thing that doesn't, you know, that's not too loud, that's not too defiant, that's not angry, that's, you know, that's just is all these things that is not a real child at the end of the day. So anyways, I really liked it. Yeah, 4.25. And I hope my meaning came across with my little rant about motherhood yesterday. And when I say this book, I wouldn't universally recommend this book. I only said that because I know there is a subset of readers, because I follow a good chunk of people that fit into this subset of readers that don't enjoy books about children or that have motherhood as a prevalent theme or topic. So that's the only reason I said that, because you know that's not a universally appealing subject, and sometimes it's really hit or miss with me. It just happened to hit this time around. So now I get to start another book. So I'm still making progress on the 3-body problem. I did check out What the River Knows from the library, so I have that on ebook. I'm not quite sure if I'm ready to go there yet. I also can now start Murder on Cold Street, and I did remember another book that needs to be a Pickles book that I kind of forgot I was supposed to read. All right, I just went and got them. So I have Murder on Cold Street, which I could start, which I primarily listen to these on audio. Kate Redding does the audiobooks and just is a phenomenal Charlotte. I love her so much. I can just fly. Sorry, that Duolingo is way more distracting than I thought it would be. Anyways, I can listen to these so fast at this point because I haven't reread this one yet, but I am so familiar with this world and all these characters. It's not a big brain book anymore. It's a comfort book. But I did forget that I was supposed to read Tender is the Flesh for the Betty Pages Challenge Your Shelf reading challenge. So there's that. Do I want to? I mean, yes. I did purposely buy this for myself because I wanted to read it. Am I excited about it? No. Because I learned this year that I have a very physical reaction to reading about cannibals. I didn't know that about myself until this year, so love that for me. It's a great discovery. But anyways, this is what I've got going on. Because Three Body Problem is just a bedtime, or no, is a morning book. I might try to be a brave girl and read like the first chapter of this one just so I kind of like break the seal on it, and then have Murder on Cold Street kind of be my calm down book. So, but now it's after dinner, so we will probably do some sort of like movie thing. Maybe we'll watch more Olympics. We did watch the women's gymnastics team finals last night, and it was amazing, and I loved it. And I have no idea what was on today, but I think a lot of swimming was on today, so we might watch the recap. And if we do that, I'll probably read this like in between things that I'm interested in / during commercials. Hi friends, happy Thursday. So you may notice different location today. My husband sent me away to a hotel for the night just to have some peace and quiet, which is so nice and so needed. I'm having a little bit of guilt, not necessarily about like not being with kids or anything like that, just that it feels like an extravagance that, I don't know. I'm having a lot of complicated feelings about it, but generally the predominant feeling is appreciation and loving the quiet. I've been here since 4, just before 4, and it's almost 7. I used the afternoon to catch up on some work that I just needed quiet to get done. I needed to edit my July wrap up, and I got that done. So I still need to watch it back, but at least it's edited, which is the most time consuming part. And then I have to do all these video trainings for my job, like, you know, the really boring required ones. Like, I'm a mandatory reporter. I have to redo that training because you have to redo it every 2 years. And then, like, you know, just a bunch of stuff like that. So I did a training, I edited my video, I went and got dinner. As you saw, it was delicious. I went to a restaurant that I don't go to hardly ever, but I go by it almost every week because it's really close to my work. It was so good. And I wanted to watch the Olympics, but I know if I turn on the Olympics, I won't read. And I brought all of my current reads. Now I'm only here for one night. Is this excessive? Absolutely. But I guess I'm just an excessive sort of person. I don't know. It's just how it is. So now that I have eaten, and I think I'm going to get into my jammies, I'm going to do my skincare, and I'm just going to read. I'm going to start with, okay, so we know this is my morning book, so this isn't going to be an issue until tomorrow. I think I'm going to read a couple more chapters of Tender is the Flesh. I got to page 42 last night. I don't know. I mean, I'm reading it. I know there's a word for when your nose runs after you eat, but I can't remember what it is. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, I'm not about to DNF. It's not that kind of I don't know, but this is very unsettling, which I think is what it's trying to do. So, like, well done. Mission accomplished. So I'm going to read a couple more chapters of this just so that I continue to make steady progress. And then I read just like the barest amount of Murder on Cold Street last night. So I think I'm going to try to make some more progress. I'm on page 15 right now, and I would love to, I don't know, maybe get to page 50. You know, stranger things could happen. And then we'll see from there. If I feel like I need a break once I get to page 50, I could start, what do I have on here? It's just madness. I could start What the River Knows, because I have that now. And just it's so many choices, and I love it. But yeah, I'm going to turn on some reading sprints. I think Olivia on Patreon was doing body doubling sprints, so I might turn those on just so that I have some focus. Because I think I need it. I'm feeling a little distracted. It's very quiet, which I love, but I'm definitely not used to this level of quiet. So I think I need some help focusing. But yeah, that's the plan, and I'll probably update you in the morning just so that I don't distract myself even more. Good morning, friends. It's Friday. Happy Friday. I slept until 8:30 this morning. So that's exciting. I went to bed at like my normal time, around 10, and then I was out. That was glorious. But I did do some reading. I also have not had coffee yet, which is going to be a problem soon because it's like 9:30, but I think I'm going to wait until I check out, and then I'll stop by like my favorite coffee shop on my way home and get good coffee because my memory card was full. Okay, that's been fixed. All right, so I read half a chapter of Three Body Problem this morning. I am not able to focus in like this space the way I am at home, so I'm gonna finish that chapter later. It's also a very long chapter, so that's okay, but you know, slow and steady progress is being made. I read a lot more of Tenders of Flesh last night than I intended. I'm 84 pages, which is not halfway. That's okay. And this one, so gosh, this is set in the future, and there's this virus that infected animals, and the virus that infected the animals could kill humans. So whether we ate the animals, were bitten by them, scratched by them, just existing with them wasn't possible. The threat of death was too high. And so all animals have been essentially wiped out. There are still like some wild animals, like people who weren't able to, you know, put down their pets, like emotionally couldn't do it, release them like into the wild. So there are still like wild animals, so like being out in nature isn't considered safe, but the meat industry basically collapsed because there is no more meat. And then there is something about amino acids, and without meat, people were getting really sick, and like, so humans still needed to consume some sort of meat anyway. So humanity pivoted to breeding and raising a certain subset of humans as cattle, basically. And these humans that are bred and raised and slaughtered like we do with cows and pigs. And that's the setup for this book. And the main character is Marcos, who works at a slaughterhouse, and one day he is gifted a woman who has been raised for captivity to be slaughtered. And I think there's going to be something with like him not being able to like realizing, I mean, he already kind of like knows that these people are people and not meat. But I think there's going to be some like reckoning with that. But I have to say, this book is so unsettling because the author really uses the same language for these humans that are in the slaughterhouse as we use for cows and pigs. And you know, it's a thing. It's a time. It's really compelling. The chapters are short. I have definitely been picking it up, saying to myself, okay, well, I'm only going to read a couple chapters, but then because the chapters are so short and the writing is so compelling, I find myself reading more than I had intended. So it's really easy to read. I don't know. Oh, Sarah Moses is the translator, so I feel like the translation is really good. Just a minute, we're going to look up how to say this author's name because I don't know how to say her last name. Agustina. Okay, that one I was pretty sure I knew. This one is the one I'm not so sure about. Basterica. Okay, Agustina Basterica. Okay, got it. Agustina Basterica. Anyways, I have to practice that more, but there we go. Yeah, I could see giving this like a 2 just because of how unsettled I am by it. I could see giving it a 5 because of how compelling it is. Like, it's really too early to make that call, but we'll see. I am fascinated, I think is the best word to describe how I feel while I'm reading this. Horrified, but fascinated. And then I got 102 pages into Murder on Cold Street last night. I love this. Love it, love it, love it. Not loving it as much as I love the other ones. I think I mentioned earlier, Inspector Treadles is really not my guy. I have a lot of problems with him, but so, you know, do I kind of want him to stay in? Where's he even locked up? I don't even remember what the like famous, I guess he's in Scotland Yard. Yeah. Do I want him to stay there? Yeah, I kind of do. I think he kind of deserves it. He's been a not great dude for the past 4 books, but you know, he's been a sexist jerk. Charlotte's gonna save him because that's what Charlotte does. It's also, this is a murder mystery, so I don't think that's a spoiler, because, you know, that's what happens in murder mysteries. They solve the murder. Duh. Okay, I'm gonna go. Hallelujah, y'all. I finished 2 books. I didn't think it was gonna happen for this vlog. I thought I was gonna have to do the outro and be like, so I didn't finish any more books. But today became a cleaning day, and I caved and I got the audiobook for Tender is the Flesh on Spotify so I could listen to the end of it while I cleaned. And then I promptly switched over and finished Murder on Cold Street. I am still reading The 3-Body Problem, but that is fine. Totally fine. And I'm just gonna keep on trucking with this one. All right, let's talk about what I finished. Finished Tender is the Flesh. I'm giving this 2 stars. I ended up hating this so much. And here's the thing. If she had stayed, if the author had stayed with the themes of cannibalism and the cognitive dissonance of cannibalism being legalized and legitimized, and the cognitive dissonance of people who get to be people and people who are treated like animals, like those themes I was really interested in, and I was interested in a story that really explored that themes. But that is not what this is. This is about a man doing gross things to women and taking advantage of women who are in vulnerable positions and in positions of powerlessness. And I didn't like it. I hated it. Actually, I hated it. I'm gonna say I didn't like it. I hated it. I hated that turn. I hated the ending. Like the ending, what was the point? Like the way this book ended, what is the point? What was the point of this story? What was the point of these characters? What were we even exploring with that? I don't know. So I didn't like it at all. And yeah, so not a fan. Also, content warning for dog death and assault and lots of yucky things done to people, obviously, but like lots of yucky things done to people who are being eaten and also people who are just like living their lives. I don't know. It was gross. And then I also finished Murder on Cold Street, which I maintain this is my least favorite of the series. I gave it 4 stars. I don't know what I gave this the first time, because the last time I read any Lady Sherlock books, except for maybe like the most recent one, I wasn't using Storygraph yet. And so this is the first time I've logged it on Storygraph, and I wasn't using Goodreads when I read these, so I have no idea what my first rating was. But I'm giving it 4 stars. The mystery in this one is one where at the end I'm like, sure, sounds great. Okay. The mystery in this one is kind of convoluted, and I don't know. I don't feel like the stepping stones are laid out well in this one for you to follow. So when Charlotte reveals it all at the end, it's just like, sure, yeah, okay, that sounds good. Well done. But like the ending for this one, I mean, talk about an opposite reaction to Tender is the Flesh. The ending on this one is so good. Like, even though I was just kind of like, meh, this whole book, the epilogue, oh, it made me so happy. I loved it so much. And it's just, and I can't tell you because it's all spoilers, but I'll just tell you, it involves hot water bottles and, which I know does not sound like swoon-worthy, but it's just, it was such a delight. Just wonderful. So with that, I think we're gonna end this vlog because it goes up and it's supposed to go up in 2 days, so I need to edit it and get going. So made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching and spending your precious time with me. I think this vlog is gonna be a little on the long side for me, so if you're still here, thank you so much. And if you want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here, let's do video game emoji, like a controller or something. I think that's, yeah, sure, some sort of video game emoji. And like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Bye!